In this video, you'll be able to participate in a practical demonstration of how to tell the difference between strong and weak aorists in the Greek New Testament. Hi, Rob McIver here. Let's begin by just naming the different types of aorists. Well, if you've been following my videos, you've learnt about strong aorists and weak aorists and the aorist of me verbs and the aorist of interesting verbs that have a liquid as their last letter on their verb stem, and then finally three really interesting verbs in their own right, eh? So, hey, there's been a lot happening, and it would be nice to give ourselves a chance to put all of that into practice. So I've written down here some verbs, and I'll give you a clue. They're all in the aorist tense, so that's good, eh? Now, what I'm asking you to do is that you should fill out the first person singular aorist as the first task. We're going to eventually fill out the whole table, but why don't you just have fun and pause the video at this stage and look down the list and see if you can identify, at least in your own mind, even if you don't write it down, what the first person singular aorist of this particular verb might be. Edoken is edoka in the first person singular. Apothenon is apothenon in the first person singular. So what I want you to do is just work down the list. Now here is my set of answers. As you can see, it goes edoka, apothenon, aposteλλω, eleleisa, atheika, egrapsa. Well, now that we have our list of first person singular aorists, we can see that the verbs either finish with an alpha or a non. Now that's a big clue about what kind of aorist it is, don't you think? Well, yes, of course, because a strong aorist goes elebon, elebes, eleben, etc. A weak aorist goes elusa, elusas, elusen. So the on is a characteristic of the strong aorist, especially if it has a change in the verb stem. That's going to be important later when you learn about the imperfect tense. The sa ending, or just the a ending, is a form of the weak aorist, or I guess the me verbs are weak aorists, although their verb stem changes. Yeah, let's call them weak aorists. So now that we've observed that, why don't you go through and you try and identify what kind of aorists these verbs are, and then restart the video and see what I think the answer is. Well, here are my answers. Edoken comes from edoka. It's a me verb. Apothenon, first person singular, is apothenon. Therefore, it's a strong aorist. It has an on ending. Aposteλλω, well, it's got to be a weak aorist of some kind, although it's from apostέλλω, isn't it? We remember because we learnt that as a vocabulary item. That's a key to making it easier, by the way. You may be surprised, but actually going to the effort of memorizing the irregular verbs, and the strong aorist in particular, makes aorists as a whole a lot easier. We have eleleisa, so that's going to be a weak aorist, and we know it's from an eo verb, laleo. Atheika is a me verb, again we know because we memorized it. Egrapsa is a weak aorist, it's an sa ending. Ipon is a strong aorist, it's an on ending. Esteisa is a sa ending, so that's going to be a weak aorist on a me verb. Epaisa, likewise a weak aorist. Enenka, well, it's from férω, it's quite irregular, but it has an alpha ending, so it's an irregular weak aorist. Esosa is from sozo, it's a weak aorist. Huron, well, it finishes with an on, therefore it's going to be a strong aorist. And yes, it's from heurisco, so the verb stem has changed, therefore it's a strong aorist. Ateisa is a weak aorist, it's got a sa ending, and eskon has got an on ending, so it's a strong aorist. Why don't you just go down in your mind or on a piece of paper and now fill in the dictionary form and the present active meaning in English. So I've partially filled in the table, and I've started with the verbs I had to memorize, the strong aorists and the me verbs. Once you've memorized them, they are easy. By the way, if you haven't memorised them, they're not just hard, they are impossible. So you can see my hint. Yes, it pays to memorise the irregular verbs. So there they are. We've got didymi, apothnasko, apostello, tithemi, lego, histemi, fero, heurisco, and echo. Those are from our vocabulary list, and those are verbs we've memorised. I've now completed the table by filling out the verbs for the weak aorists. So we have, among the weak aorists, we have laleo, we have grapho, we have pytho, we have sozo, and we have aiteo. So that's a little exercise in how to recognise the various kinds of aorists, be they strong aorist, weak aorist, irregular weak aorist, and kind of weak aorists that are very, well, let's not say very irregular, but interesting because they are me verbs. This video is one of a series of videos on the grammar of the Greek New Testament, and among the videos are several on tense and the aorist tense in particular, and you may find them interesting. You can most easily find these videos by subscribing to my YouTube channel, NT Greek Made Easier, or by following me on x.com at robmciver2024. And hey, if you found this video helpful, why not let me know by clicking on the like button below or by clicking on the heart icon. Thank you.